Welcome everyone to Centanni Tile. My name is Ryan Fazan and I've been asked to give you our digital presentation for Centanni Tile's 2020 Spring-Summer Launch Collection. Normally we're doing this face-to-face with you in your offices or in our showroom, and obviously that's been a little difficult this time. So we wanted to make sure that we got this information out to you in a way that felt like us, that really got all of the hype going for all of the work that we put into the curation of this collection. As I said, my name is Ryan. I've been working with the Centanni team here since December in marketing and creative. And we put a lot of work into creating our lookbook of the spring-summer collection. These are all our new introductions that we're bringing in over the next month or so. Everything that I'm about to show you is either on the water now or loading within the week and landing before the end of summer. So we've got some really exciting new products that are really expanding our tightly curated collection. All as you've come to expect from us, from Spain, Italy, and Portugal, top quality European factories, that we think this collection really kind of brings us into this new decade and brings all sorts of new capabilities for you aesthetically and functionality wise. So without further ado, let's get into Spring-Summer 2020 and our launch process. And the launch process starts with research. It starts with us sitting around this boardroom table here and talking about our current collection, where we see the gaps and what we see the trends as being, that we need to find the perfect solution to fill those gaps in our current collection. And the way we do that is by looking at trends in just about every industry other than the built environment. So we look at movies, TV. Where are they being filmed? What periods are they being set in? What kind of podcasts are trending right now? What's trending in literature? Is it different periods? Is it narratives? Is it documentaries? You know, those kinds of things all build into what our overall concept is of what's stylish. And so that deep research has a lot of interesting sort of notes about what we really need to be looking for. What are the subtle differences that's going to set a line apart from its competitors that look very similar? And so what we started to see as a unifying message was this kind of ombre effect, this gradient effect of layers upon layers building upon each other. And that was something that was really interesting to see developing in our interior design language coming into 2020. So we started to look at our collection and we noticed, well, we're really strong in marbles. We've got some of the best marble collections on the market right now. We're really strong in small format wall tile, but there's definitely a few gaps that we need to be filling to really bring everything to our very savvy customers. So we came up with 5 different sort of trends that we really wanted to find the right solution for, and number 6 being an overarching trend. So very quickly I'm going to go through them because we're going to get to them as we see the products. We've got natural, which is a raw, natural, noble aesthetic of a natural material. We wanted to bring the warmth of something natural into our collection. Cement is very, very important in tile, it being sort of on the gray spectrum, which is the most important neutral for us here in Canada and the US. So we knew we needed a modern, clean, and crisp cement that really fit with Centanni's aesthetic. Then, oxidization, the beautiful organic nature of a Corten or oxidized steel, with technology growing to a point that we can add digitally gloss effects and metallic effects and opalescence and things like that. We knew that now was the time to introduce the right Corten look that actually hit mid-market at a reasonable price point in approachable colorways so that it really could be used just about anywhere. So that was a tall list for our oxidized trend, and we think we've absolutely nailed it with our selection. The fourth one was really interesting. We saw a huge rise looking on Pinterest and YouTube sites and things like that, where there was all sorts of DIY tips and tricks about how to update your vintage handmade furniture pieces to make them fit with a modern design. And a lot of that was being done with gradients in chalk finish paint. So this hyper matte paint with various layers of color was something that we saw in so many soft goods and decorative pieces around our interiors that we thought it was perfect to add that in a tile collection. And finally, we knew that the ceramic world in general was expanding. We're creating entirely new product categories, and one of them was something that we've been repeatedly being asked for time and again by our designers as we're going in for spec meetings, and that was 2cm pavers. And in order for them to be utilized as much as possible, we knew we needed a stocking program. So that was our last and probably biggest expansion to our line. The sixth trend is a unified thing that was going into each and every one of the decisions for all of the preceding ones, and that was added layers of detail, something that really set each one of our selections apart from anything else within its category. So without further ado, there's a look at the spring-summer collection, just a quick snapshot of what we put together for you and what we're bringing in over the coming months. So the first trend that we wanted to make sure we brought back into our line, this is actually kind of a revival, is natural aesthetic of raw timber. As LVT started to rise and erode the market share of porcelain plank tile, because of its low installed cost, we started dropping a lot of our timber looks out of our collection. And many of you will have seen them on last call. Actually, a lot of them have sold out now because that desire for a premium product that has high technical characteristics, that is a higher performance solution than the natural material, is becoming more and more important. People are noticing that, you know, LVT's low installed cost is a bit of a false economy because of its replacement frequency, the needs of upkeep and things like that. So we started to look for a contemporary wood look, and what we came up with was Axis, which is a wonderfully soft and slightly varied, but within a tight spectrum, natural wood look in an 8 by 48 inch plank made in Italy from a top quality factory in 4 different colorways. So as I said, it's an 8 by 48 inch plank, just one format, very simple, variation 2 scale, suitable both for residential and commercial. It actually meets DCOF for dry area and commercial. It's fine for freeze thaw and thermal shock applications, suitable for wet areas, a natural glazed color body porcelain with a rectified edge. And the 4 colorways that we have are perfect for what's going on right now. We've got the warm, rich, unfinished wood tone in the nut. We've got a deeper light stain in the oak. We've got the bleached birch and the grayed off maple. So it's this perfect aesthetic that can fit and bring that warmth of wood to just about any kind of design today. And what we loved about it was it had that Scandinavian, clean, contemporary look that fits with our style and our client's style, but it still had some variation to it within a tight spectrum, and the breadth of variation, because, as we'll get to a little bit later, because of the differences in the punch and in the graphics, it's almost infinite variation, but there's very little knot work, so that you can't see the repeats as easily as you can in some of the heavier designs of a wood look. So our second one that we needed to get perfect, because there's so much competition out there, is cement. Now cement is our standard canvas. It's kind of the go-to if you're not doing a white marble or a classic ceramic. Cement is generally one of the other major choices for the primary canvas for an architectural design. And so Carnaby was our choice for the cement look because it's so wonderfully contemporary. It's got a beautiful, simple aesthetic with little details and nuances that we'll get to as we look at in our in-depth look. But it's got a soft spider vein. It's got lovely embellishments with white ink and a little bit of metallic in the aggregate as well. So the closer you are, the angle that you view this material at makes a big difference. Made by one of the top quality producers in Spain. We're stocking it in our flagship size, the 24 by 48, as well as 24 by 24, 12 by 24, and a 2.7 inch mosaic for shower bases. Again, V2 variation, suitable residential and commercial, dry or wet areas, and even outdoor for freeze thaw and thermal shock. It's a color body, glazed surface, natural finish that meets DCOF for dry area commercial with a rectified edge. In 3 very soft gray colorways. The Blanco is just on the side of gray, but almost white, with a lot more of the white highlights in it. The Gris is a perfect medium heather tone. And then the taupe is a bit, maybe misnamed. It's more of a French gray. It's a very warm, rich gray. That's wonderful in this cement aesthetic. So our third one that we wanted to get to was the perfect Corten look. Now there's a lot of ways to do Corten, and oftentimes it can be very, very strong, especially in the natural rusty tone that we see a lot of them in. Usually they're called Corten or bronze in that colorway. And that really bright, rich rust tone is often a little strong for an overall aesthetic in many areas, but we wanted that feel, that rich feel of natural oxidized steel, and what we came up with was Gary. 2 things made us select Gary. The touch of this is actually, it feels like Corten steel. So it's not just the look, it's the touch, it's the way light reflects from the surface because of how they've used the glaze. It's also the price point and the colorways make it a perfect mid-market solution for an upscale design and refined look. Again, much like Carnaby, it's made from a top quality producer in Spain, the exact same formats. 24 by 48 flagship, 24 by 24, 12 by 24, and the 2.7 mosaic. All the same technical characteristics, same natural finish, rectified edge, color body porcelain, suitable for residential and commercial. And the colorways, as you can see, are very understated, very approachable for a lot of different design aesthetics. From the lightest alumino through platinum, plata, to steel, acero, which has very close to the rusty tones. It's got just rusty undertones, a little bit of that warmth coming through, to the coolest and most saturated and moodiest color, the plomo or lead color in this collection as well. We think you're going to be really excited about this next one, Detroit, because we certainly are. It was a very important trend that we really wanted to find the right solution for, which is this chalked trend, this hyper matte finish in a tight spectrum. There was a lot of boxes to tick with this collection, and it was a very tall order for us to find. And Detroit, matter of fact, not only ticks all the boxes that we had on our list, it actually adds a few. So this really is an unsung hero or workhorse tile that's a panacea for just about anything. As you can see, it's one of our first introductions from Portugal in quite a while, from one of their top factories there, and the aesthetics that you can create with this series are so wide-ranging because of its technical characteristics. So I'm going to pull up the book here. This is one of our first extruded through body porcelains. It's a technical product that's equally applicable in a backsplash, as you can see in the top right there. It looks great in a backsplash, as well as residential floors and even high traffic commercial floors like a subway platform, an airport, or a shopping center. What we really wanted from this Hyper Matte collection was to have a broad range of neutral colors as well as neutral accents, so that they were all colors that could work as a primary field tile, but they could all work in complement to each other as well. And they gave a broader range of colors to work with for the canvas of your designs. So we've got the naturals ranging from a soft Victorian creamy white through 2 grays to the darkest carbon, but then we've got the rich brick tone, that lovely grayed off flamingo pink, as well as the green and blue. So as I said, this is a clinker, extruded, through body technical porcelain in a 3x12 inch format. That's modular as well. Suitable for residential, commercial, even industrial. Fine for wet areas and even submerged areas like pools or fountains. Any traffic level is fine for this tile. Natural matte finish with a hyper matte color tone. And there's a better look, rather than just the physical pieces, of the overall aesthetic, because this is an unglazed technical porcelain, but it's lightly accented by inkjet to give that range of variation. Still passes deep abrasion as needed for high traffic areas, but it has a lot more design than most technical porcelains ever achieve. So our last category that we're introducing this year is the 2 centimeter paver tile. And we've had a lot of success over the past year with clients special ordering this material. One of our collections that we're introducing is the one that we've had the best success with, but we've actually introduced 3 new collections under our 2CME collection general that is all 2 centimeter thick outdoor paver specific material. So we've got 3 different collections under the 2CME. Atmosphere, Contract, and Glamora. They're all made from Spain's #1 producer that specializes in 2CM material. As you can see, in the Centanni way, we wanted to make sure that our product was a little bit different than everything else on the market. So we're stocking the 24x48 size as well as the 12x48 size in Glamora, the wood look. So this 2CM thickness gives us so much potential for exterior hardscapes. It's a great transitional material because we can get the 10mm material matching for interiors, but one of the biggest attributes that makes this product such a must-have for us is that it's the first time ever, in my memory, that the tile industry has introduced an entirely new category of product, and it's had the trade buy in immediately because of all of these huge characteristic gains over all the competitors, but most importantly, the one at the bottom there. The weight per square foot of a porcelain 2CM paver is only 9.3 pounds per square foot on average. If we look at clay to brick pavers at 21 to 31, cast in place concrete at 12.5, that's the only thing here that you're actually not lifting and putting in, is the only thing anywhere close to the 9.3 weight. Our concrete pavers are 27 to 36, and natural stone anywhere from 15 to 50, depending on the varietal that you're using. What these kind of thick structural pavers do is allow for all sorts of different installation methods that aren't a traditional fixed mortar in place, that are a lot less time consuming and oftentimes more cost effective for an exterior install, whether it's a deck over living space or a patio on grade. All of that technical stuff aside, we think we've really come up with a fantastic collection that really hits a lot of different looks and aesthetics. We've got a V2 variation in the Atmosphere and Glamora, and a V3 variation in the Contract. So depending on how much variation you want in your hardscape, we've got that solution for you. You'll notice that we've gone with a very light palette, and that was a strategic decision on our part, because in exterior hardscapes, the solar reflective index and the high thermal mass of ceramics can conspire in a very negative way if in a darker color to make your exterior hardscape, especially for something like a pool deck or a residential patio. If it's a dark color, it oftentimes, even here in Vancouver where we don't have super high temperatures, is even too hot to walk on in bare feet. So we went with, for our stocking program, a very light palette, Atmosphere in our cracked concrete, a broader sort of fusion-based concrete that has a little exposed aggregate, a little bit of terracotta, a little bit of metal even into the aesthetic in Contract, and then our 12 by 48 inch wide plank wood look paver in Blanco Grigio, the grade off tone, as well as a natural unfinished wood as well in the nature. So the overarching concept that we had was that everything that we selected, and I'm going to go through each one again to point out some of the key attributes that made us select these ones over any of the others that we saw within those themes. So Axis, I showed you our wood look. Again, made in Italy, 8 by 48 inch plank, beautiful Scandinavian simple wood. And you can see there from the Positone, the example of just how much variation there is within this collection. It's very clean and very subtle, but it has a broad variation, and each one of the punches within the actual press has different wood grains to it as well. So not only do we have a broad range of graphics, we've got different structures of the surface as well, so that it's almost limitless variation when you pair those two things together. Along with the color palette, that's really what made Axis the winner in that category. Carnaby is our modern concrete look that had a lot of synergy with our Atmosphere paver. It's a little bit cleaner for the interior space, but it still has that subtle spider grain from a fast-dried concrete that was exposed to a little bit of heat and UV during the curing process. It's got some little exposed aggregate details picked out in white ink to add the highlights and add a depth of field that you don't get without that advanced technology. And as I said, it matches beautifully with our Atmosphere paver for a seamless transition from inside to outside spaces. The Gary oxidized Corten look, again from Spain, offered us the wide range of sizes that we wanted, and that understated, the understated palette that we really needed for a mid-market oxidized look, as well as employing a digitally applied glue with a dry granilla, a white dry granilla that added not only the highlights of the white in the oxidization, but also that structure, that soft, nubbly structure of an oxidized cement. So not only in look, but in feel, does Gary capture that beautiful aesthetic of an oxidized steel. Moving on to Detroit, our through body clinker technical porcelain tile from Portugal. I use this seam to showcase it, not only because it showcases the variation incredibly well, but also because it showcases the modularity of the 3x12 format. So the 3-inch is modular with the 12-inch with an inherent joint, so you can get patterns, incredible patterns like this stacked 3 times herringbone that we're doing on the floor in this in this living space here. As I said, Detroit's your panacea tile. That's good for just about every installation you could possibly put it in, from a residence to a shopping center. Moving into atmosphere, as I said, it matches very well with Carnaby. It's got that wonderful spider vein pattern of the quick dried cement. In a bit of a stronger version for an exterior, as you would expect, but in beautifully matching colorways, so you can get that seamless transition from inside to outside, from a 10 mil product in a mortared traditional fixed installation to an exterior set paver installation. Moving into contract, our second 2CME introduction, we've got that broader range of movement. It's a V3 scale, 24 by 48 cement look. That's kind of a fusion between cement and as I said, exposed aggregate, metals, and a bunch of other materials, and it gives that broader variation when you need a more aggressive hardscape. And then finally, Glamora, our 12 by 48 inch wood plank, has got so much going for it. It's absolutely incredible to have these as a walkway grass set in an exterior, moving from your patio to your garden or your fire pit or whatever it may be in your exterior. This lovely natural raw wood timber aesthetic is something that I think is perfect for the West Coast here in a paver. So we're almost done. I hope I've given you some things to be excited about. The last thing I wanted to touch on was not a product launch, but a service launch. And as I said at the beginning of this, customer-centric viewpoint is the most important thing to us here at Centanni Tile. And we've always been very, very good at our face-to-face and in-person customer management and service level. And unbeknownst to us that this was coming, but we started to realize that our digital tools really weren't up to the same level of our face-to-face service. And that was something that I was tasked with even before this pandemic started. As we move into our social distance kind of new norm that we find ourselves in, digital tools become even more important, and we're starting to realize that. So I wanted to showcase just a few of the things that we've added to our site and online tools over the past 6 months, because we've done everything we can to give you a much more robust and user-oriented experience on our website. We've added a Latacrete section with all of the warranties and everything right at your fingertips that you could possibly need to know about our premium setting material, adhesive, and membrane system with Latacrete. We've added our last call and collection pages. So last call is everything that we're phasing out of our current collection to make room for new things, that like everything I've showed you just now. There's some incredible deals in last call. It's something that you should be going back to frequently, because we're always rotating material in to make space for new stuff to come up to be launched. We can have savings up to about 88% in the last call, and that is fully filterable by effect and by collection, as well as our current collections page as well. All of our technical docs are available in each collection, so that you shouldn't have to navigate anywhere else. You can just download them right where you're looking at the collection that you're interested in. So I've done all of that on not only desktop but mobiles, because we're starting to see a lot more mobile traffic on our site. And instead of going with a responsive theme, I actually have redesigned the mobile platform so that everything is at your fingertips right when you need it, and you don't have to scroll like crazy. on your smartphone or on your tablet to get to the areas that you need to. It's got all the functionality of the desktop app. It's just scaled down and in an intuitive way so that you can use your fingers instead of your keyboard and mouse to get where you need to go. So it should be a great reference tool for each and every one of you. And I want to take the time now to thank you so much for having a look at what we're doing, and invite you to reach out to us. There's a new live chat on the site. You can email me, ryan@centannitile.com, or any of the team as well. It's always our first name at centannitile.com if you want to get anyone on the team or have any questions to us. Please reach out if there's anything we can do to support you as we're all navigating these difficult times together. We're happy to deliver samples, do digital presentations like this one, more back and forth like a Zoom call, or anything else that helps you continue to do your work, because we're here for you each and every day. So thank you on behalf of the Centanni Tile team. My name's Ryan, signing off for now.